Hey everybody, my name is Old School Nerd, and I'm right in the middle of a Twitch stream doing up and coming bands. And one of you gave me this one. It's called Cinnamon Babe, Rock and Roll is Black. And immediately, first, 10 seconds, chat? Was it 10 seconds? I was like, stop! Let's make a YouTube reaction. This thing is crazy. It's got Fire from the Gods vibes, some Rage Against the Machine vibes. I mean, cultural, just explosion vibes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love diversity in music because I get to see bands from all over the world, okay? From every corner of the world. Asian bands, Pacific bands, European, African, South American, Latin American, Europe, Iceland. Sorry, couldn't help that one. But I just love how all the flavors coming in. Remember in the 80s? Rock music, metal music was really kind of only dudes that, you know, had this color on their arms, some tats, long hair. And a band like Living Colour was an anomaly. Or a woman was an anomaly. Nowadays, 2022, rules. Those rules, that's all gone, man. Wide open. My name is Old School Nerd. This is my reaction to Cinnamon Babe. Rock and Roll is Black. Ready? No, you're not. I wasn't ready. We've only heard like the first 15 seconds and I stopped it. This had to be done. Let's do this right now. I'm pressing play. Let's go. Backup dancers, let's go. Okay, so I'm letting you know now. It's about to start. Do not let her wig, her bra top, or her look fool you. Do not let the guy's shorts with those ridiculously white tattooed legs fool you. This is not going to go the way you think it is. Hold on to your butts.
I'm taking my culture back. 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 Cause rock and roll is black. I'm taking my culture back. I'm taking my culture back. I'm taking my culture back. Cause rock and roll is black. Hendrix flooding through my bloodstream. Rebel of this world, hear my screams. Ready to push the minority dream. The people who died to have me seen. They hate to have my words so political. Want me in my place to be traditional. The image of me is based to fictional. I'm this deep individual, ready to speak. When I dress how I want, they call me a freak. When I talk how I want, they call me a geek. The niggas don't like me because you are weak. I'm not your doll, your little toy. I'm a crazy ass beast that scares off the boys. Get off my page, you're not ready for noise. Entity sent, designed to destroy. I'm here to corrupt, not here to enjoy. I'm taking my culture back. I'm taking my culture back. Cause rock and roll is black.
I'm just gonna stop for a second. Yay! Okay, number one, I love everything about this. I'm a huge fan of Fire from the Gods. So the political message and that taking everything that is what we knew or what we think we knew and changing it up and just letting it free flow is important, okay? A lot of us are now coming to historical realizations that a lot of the music that we love comes from the diversity cultures throughout Americana, Europe, Africa, Asia. It all ties in. And music industry has always kind of kept it monotone and filtered everything that was art through one particular lens from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and then in the 90s with Rage Against the Machine, In Living Color, you started to get these little wisps of, well, wait a minute, where does all this stuff come from? Now, I come from the South. I live in South Louisiana. So through my culture, Zydeco music and Cajun traditional music are two different things. I'm just speaking from my own history. Cajun music has a French, German feel to it, intertwined. However, Zydeco music is an Africanized Creole infusion of that. And if you put them all together, Cajun. Luckily, I come up from a place where African roots intermixed into our music, where Germanic accordions intermixed into the music, French violins, French vocals intermixed into it. So my culture as a Cajun, I'm proud to say in this day and age, now, we're proud of who we are. Did we live in a time where slavery was an issue in the United States? Yeah, we did. It sucked. And we were second-class citizens too. The Cajuns were exiled from Canada, and we were stuck in the swamp because nobody wanted us to be here. Granted, we weren't slaves, and that's even worse. But I get it. A lot of the music, especially when you're talking about the blues, country music, rock and roll, the beginnings of it, all kind of exemplify from those areas of Mississippi, Lower Tennessee Valley, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, that Arkansas blues, jazz, fusion, and then the advent of the electric guitar became so powerful, it was undeniable, and the American music industry grabbed it and then stuck it where everyone realized, and they just put one face, one color, one race, one view of it, and shoved it down our throats for years. No one is going to argue that. And if you do, I'm sorry. I'm not talking about European music. I'm not talking about Asian music. I'm not talking about Latin America and South American music. What I'm talking about is the American music industry. The truth is evident, okay? And so bands like Fire from the Gods and a band like this, Cinnamon Babe, it really makes sense. It's truth. You can argue it if you want, but historically you're going to be wrong. I'm going to tell you guys something, and it's going to piss a lot of people off, but this is not coming from me. This is coming from Ann Wilson of Heart. Pretty sure she's an expert on music, especially rock music. When she talks about Led Zeppelin, you know what she doesn't she doesn't talk about Led Zeppelin being a great metal band. She doesn't talk about Led Zeppelin being a great rock band. She talks about Led Zeppelin being a British rock band that infused African American blues into their style, and they took over the world. See, even Ann Wilson back in the day knew where the genius of Led Zeppelin came from. And it came from their introduction of other cultures into rock music. So when you see a band like Bloodywood from India taking their culture, putting it in the music, you see Alien Weaponry in New Zealand taking that culture, putting it in their music. That's a realization that, thanks to YouTube, is wide open. No longer is the music industry, dollars, dictating to the world what music should be, where music came from, and who makes it, who owns it. Art is in the artist. We can all agree that the music industry of the United States through the 20th century really kind of owned it, and they forced people to say this is what it is. Nowadays, we're starting to see a lot more. I get this. I like this. This is awesome. Not only for the cultural message it sends, the political message it sends, the historical message it sends. It's just a really good fucking song, too. So we press play. I'm gonna shut up now.
Your perspective is not based
How many
on
drum sets?
reality.
4?
History's been erased and casualties. Books given, scratched and white.
3 in a barrel.
The little brown boys got self-doubt. Only care about the beauty and the clout. Now I'm careful what comes out my mouth. My purpose is bigger, my weapon is loaded. I can't just sit back and watch how y'all voted. Color consumes, defeats the unity. Burn the hate inside this community. Can't fight back, we are fighting inside. Can't protect within the divide. Rep for the culture despite the flaws. His life is lost and you bring up the law. Wanna bring up the past, undercover hate. And you fake prayer hands to get in the gate. Taking my culture back.
you thought you were the unheard? Tell me I don't belong. Shit's for me.
I mean, you're beautiful. Please leave your clothes on. I want to be able to put this on my channel. I mean, if you're determined to, that's you, that's your art. But please at least keep a little so I can put it on YouTube. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Started by me, created by me. In case you didn't hear, let me tell you the fuck again.
Rock and roll is black! Rock and roll is black! Rock and roll is black! Rock and roll is black!
I'm taking my motherfucking culture back. Taking my culture back. Don't you ever tell me I don't belong. Don't you tell me this ain't for me. Don't you tell me I'm in the wrong place. I mean this fucking place.
Taking my culture back. I'm 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 taking my culture back. Rock and roll is black.
I get the whole blonde wig now. Okay. Cinnamon Babe, subscribe, jump all over that. I mean, seriously, holy crap. Okay, and here's some of the things I want to say, okay? And I want to say this, and please don't take this in a racial context, but it is funny, okay? This is funny because we can laugh at ourselves. Remember the 80s and 90s, every time they had a romantic comedy or a teenage comedy, they had the token black guy? Right? 10 Things I Hate About You, every Freddie Prinze Jr. movie, right? They had the high school, they were the one token black guy. Because they were required, right? Hollywood, you had to have it. And then the bass player is like the token white guy instead of the token black guy. It's a joke because if you're the bass player in this band, it doesn't matter what color you are, you better be able to throw down some chops with this band. Okay, here's the thing. I do want to say something. Okay, I understand that she has no problem showing her power, her sexuality, her beauty, and being aggressive. I get that. And then for some people, it can be almost distracting. I mean, she's freaking hot. But are you listening to the words she's saying? It's aggressive. It is kind of Rage Against the Machine level, and you do love that. Here's another thing I want to say. When she's talking about rock and roll is black, she's talking about taking rhythm and blues and jazz, connecting it with electric guitar and bass, elevating the tempo. That's where American rock and roll came from. Now, for all of you that are metal fans, it's a little bit different. Metal music is where you take classical music, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, that kind of stuff, right? You take that music, you incorporate that composition into metal, drums, bass. That's where traditional metal comes from. You can hear the differences. Rock and roll is more jazz, rhythm, and blues, which is an African-American cultural development of art that was then, it just took the country by storm. And you have to give hats off to the original creators of the rock and roll genre, which is African-American communities. I think it's really interesting when you hear the story of the Colonel. Watch the movie Elvis. The Colonel, the producer that created Elvis, he went off and he caught in these little dive bars and little country places in the backwoods where African-American musicians were plying their blues, their jazz, the art of the music that they were creating. And he's like, man, well, I can't put this black person on TV, but there's this young white kid who's got all the funk with him. I can make millions. That's a shitty thing, but it's true. That actually happened. So it's true. Is rock and roll black? Originally, Absolutely. Here's the best thing. Rock and roll, originally, it was black, and it should have stayed that way. However, it is open spectrum now. Anyone can make it. This band has like 3 drummers, a guy playing a 55-gallon drum. I don't know how many guitars, and I don't care. It's amazingly good. Now, for all of my metal fans out there, here she goes, doing that whole taking my clothes off thing. Well, she do whatever she wants. But again, for all my metal fans, it is different. Now, when you incorporate both the rock and roll and metal, then it gets a little different. Fortunately, nowadays, in today's music, metal is no longer just metal, and rock and roll is no longer just rock. You have different combinations. You have so many different forms of metal, like Ginger takes blues, rhythm, reggae, jazz, throws it in metal, and it's a totally different thing. So the origins are a little bit different, but culturally and historically, there's a lot of truth in this. A lot. And they do a damn good job of showing it off. My name is Old School Nerd. This is Cinnamon Babe. Rock and Roll is Black. This is my first time ever checking these guys out in the middle of a live stream on Twitch. Chat, thank you for hanging in with me. I know you had to be kind of just hanging in because I've just been going off about this band. This is so freaking good. I love everything about this. This is the kind of, you know what? This is what Living Colour should have been able to do. And they got hung up in everything that went around. This is the stuff that Fire from the Gods and this band is putting out, and I think it's amazing. All right, so this is Cinnamon Babe. Rock and Roll is Black. My name is Old School Nerd, and this is one that my community just threw on me. I couldn't help myself. I had to record this. All right, I'm gonna get back to my live stream now. You can go about your day. We'll see you later.